Hello students, Namaste, how are you? So today we will start chapter number 1, Introduction to Object-Oriented Programming Concept. Okay, so page number 1, you have to open your book because in this video you will not get any contents or text. I will explain you line by line this chapter, by that you will not have any problem. So be ready with your textbook, open page number 1. Okay, open. Yes, now page number 1, where we will cover introduction, evolution of software, programming paradigm, basic concept of OOP, and what is advantages and disadvantages of OOP. Okay, so we will start because this chapter is going to be uh, uh, it will take more time. Introduction. With the rapidly changing world and the highly competitive and versatile nature of industry, the operations are becoming more and more complex. Here, versatile means industry works for different purposes. The world is so competitive now. So, in view of the increasing complexity of software system, the software industry and software engineers continuously look for the new approach to software design and development. So nowadays, because of complexity and the competition, the software engineers are searching for a suitable softwares and ideas to develop the softwares. The increased complexity had become the chief problem. Chief means main or most important problem. Become the chief problem means main problem with computer programs in traditional language. And here traditional languages means basic language, COBOL, Pascal, Fortran, Ada. These were the traditional languages, and in these traditional languages the software development task is very tedious because of large programs. And these traditional languages programs were very large. Because of this complexity are more prone to errors, so are more, you can say, are more likely to suffer with the errors, you can say. Okay, prone means likely to suffer with the errors. And software errors can be expensive. Why it is these are expensive? When we are giving one program to computer to execute, so we are typing that and we are getting the errors. What expense? Nothing. No, nothing. We will remove it. No. But if we are developing the software and a error comes, to remove the error it takes more time, and time is expensive and even life threatening. Okay, the most adopted and popular programming approach, that is structured programming approach, fail to show the desired result in terms of bug free. Yes, in structure programming it was difficult to get the errors, and so many times error comes and desired result uh, does not come. So it was very difficult to maintain. It was not easy to maintain, and not suitable to reusable program. Means when we are making the program in structured programming, it was very difficult to reuse it for different purposes. The latest programming approach, object-oriented programming, that is OOP, offer a new and powerful way to cope with the complexity. So object-oriented programming comes over these all difficulties which were in structured programming. So OOP's goals are clearer, more reliable, and more easily maintained program. Maintained program means we can maintain the program. If there are some changes, we can change it. This chapter introduces general concepts that the traditional languages like C, Pascal, COBOL, and Basic Latin, and the new generation languages of general program language support. Okay, now page number 2. Come to the page number 2. Yes. Evaluation of software. In this page, we will learn under this evaluation of software means types of languages, low-level language, high-level languages. This idea you will get. Okay, now we will start. A program serves the purpose of commanding the computer. What is the purpose of a program? What is a program? If definition comes, a question asks, define program? What is a program? So you can say program is a set of instructions arranged in a proper sequence to solve a particular problem. And what is the purpose of a program? The purpose of a program is to command the computer. Simple. To command the computer. To give the command, to give the statements to computer to do some work for us. Okay. The efficiency and usefulness of a program depends not only on proper use of commands but also on the programming language it is written in. So, what means how can we say that a program is so efficient and useful? Only depends on the commands or statements used in the program and what type of language we have chosen to develop that particular program. That is the main important thing. In two major types of programming languages, low-level languages and high-level languages offer different features of programming. Now we will discuss it. Low-level languages. Just try to understand what is the meaning of low-level language. Low-level means computer hardware. That means so the languages which works near to the machine hardware or computer hardware. These are the low-level languages. So these are a machine language and assembly language. So see now, low-level languages are machine-oriented and require extensive knowledge of computer circuitry. Machine-oriented means machine languages are machine-oriented, means what type of machine we are using, what model of computer we are using. For particular machine, we had to write the program in low-level language, and in low-level language we use only 0 and 1, that is binary number system. So machine language in which instructions are written in binary code using 1 and 0 is the only language the computer can execute directly. Yes, computer can execute directly only binary codes. So because computer understand only 0 and 1, 0 means off and 1 means on. Okay, now assembly language in which instructions are written using symbolic names for machine operations, read, add, store. To operate the machine, to operate the computer, we use some symbolic names also called mnemonic. Okay. So, in this assembly language, we use read, add, store. These are the commands which or you can say operators. You can say how to operate the machine. So, if you want to add two values, then use A double D in capital. If you want to store, then STORE, store. If you want to read, then read. And subtract, if you want to subtract, then SUB, sub. And operands makes programming less tedious than machine language programming because we are using some English words. So in comparison of machine language, assembly language is easy in comparison of machine language. However, assembly program is then converted into machine language using assembler software. Okay, because computer understand only machine language, that is 0 and 1. So whatever we write should go in computer in the form of 0 and 1, whether we are writing a program in assembly language or in high level languages. So one software called assembler, which converts assembly program into machine language, which uh, used by computer. High level languages, on the other hand, offer English like keywords, constructs for sequence, selection decision, and iteration looping, and use of variables and constant. See, high level languages, other hand, offer English like keywords. High level languages means you can say basic language, COBOL, Pascal, Fortran, Ada, Java, C, C++. These are under the high level language, and they use keywords like English word, okay, like int, save, yes, print, input, if, for, while. These are the keywords. And construct for sequence means step by step, one by one statements are given. These are called sequence of programming. Selection, that is if statement we are using. Iteration, that is for loop, while loop, do while loop we are using. Variables, int a is equal to 10, so a is a variable. And constants, that is 10, int a is equal to 10, 10 is a constant, you can say. Thus, it is very easy to program with such languages compared to low-level language. So, high-level languages are easy to understand in comparison of machine language and high-level languages. The program written in high-level language are converted into machine language using compiler or interpreter. So, software as a computer can execute machine language directly. Yes, uh, I told you, whatever we write in a program as a statements, a group of statements in the high level language, must convert into machine language using compiler or interpreter. But here, what is the meaning of compiler or what is the meaning of interpreter? So these two, compiler and interpreter, are softwares which converts high level language into machine language, but the difference is compiler converts the whole program into machine language and interpreter converts line by line the program into machine language, line by line of the program. So if we are using compiler, then compiler converts whole program and gives the error if errors are there afterwards. Or interpreter convert line by line into machine language, and if a first line is having any error, then it will stop there and will show the error, and it will not execute further. These are the difference. Now, a programming language should serve two related purposes. It should provide a vehicle for the programmer to specify action to be executed. So programming, what is the purpose of programming languages? So it should provide a vehicle for the programmer to specify action to be executed, means what type of action should be executed through the program. And that is, it has to be related to machine level or low level. Secondly, it should provide a set of concepts for the programmer, means idea. What idea should be apply to do something by computer program to use. So it should provide a set of concepts for the programmer to use when thinking about what can be done, means what can be done to solve the problem. That is, it relates to the high level languages. Or you can say, okay, now come the first aspect, ideally require a language that is close to the computer machine, so that all important aspects of a machine are handled simply and efficiently. The second aspect, ideally require a language that is close to the problem to be solved. so that the concept of a solution can be expressed directly and concisely. The low-level languages serve only the first aspect, that is, they are close to the machine, okay? And the high-level languages serve only the second aspect, that is, they are close to the programmer. However, the language C and C++ serve both the aspect, hence can be called as middle level language. So C is a very powerful language, because in C we can uh, develop the operating system, even because C is very close to the machine low level of machine, that is means uh, very close to the hardware. Okay, now come to the next uh, paragraph, programming language generation. Now we will discuss about the generation of languages, that is first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, and fifth generation, like this way. So computer programming starts with instructions being typed in binary format with 0 and 1, and it evolved into today's sophisticated programming languages that offer many features to make our task much easier and effective. Then you can understand now, because in the beginning, when in the developing phase of the languages, computer programming started from zero, with 0 and 1. So with the two digits only, we have to, now we are writing the int a is equal to 10, then, and that at the past that time, this int a is equal to 10 were not working. So only 0 and 1, two digits were available. Nowadays, now we are having high level languages, and we are writing all the programming in high level languages, okay? And these high level languages are much easier and effective. In the following line, we are discussing various generation of programming languages. Now we come to the first generation programming language. A first generation programming language is a machine level language, programming language, or machine language. So machine language belongs to first generation. It consists of ones and zeros, you know that now. Originally, no translator software such as compiler or interpreter was used to compile or assemble the first generation language, because whatever we are writing in the same way, with the writing with the 0 and 1, and this 0 and 1 goes to computer's circuit, and computer circuit can understand 0 and 1, depends, 0 means off, 1 means on, like this way. So there's no use of compiler and interpreter to convert it. The Come to the page 3 now. The main benefit of programming in a first generation programming language is that code a user writes can run very fast and efficiently, since it is directly executed by the CPU. The main benefit means, what is the advantage of first generation language, or you can say machine language, is because we are writing, whatever we are writing, the statements in we are writing in low level language, and computer can understand low level language, so it's very fast and efficient, because computer understand only 0 and 1, just why. But machine language is somewhat more difficult to learn than high generation programming. Yes, it is very difficult to learn machine language, because whatever we have to write, we have to write in 0 and 1, and it is somewhat more difficult to debug and edit it errors occur. So it was very difficult to get the debug means finding the errors, finding the bug, removing the errors. Debug means removing the errors, and edit if errors occur, or and it was very difficult to uh, edit means to remove the errors. Second generation programming language, that is 2GL, And second generation programming language is a term usually used to refer to some form of assembly language. Unlike first generation programming language, it can actually be read and written fairly easily by a human. Is it use mnemonic to specify instructions? Mnemonic means, that assembly language read, add, store. These symbolic names are called mnemonics. Okay, it requires some translation from assembly language to machine language to make it useful to a computer. So second generation were using assembly language. So these these languages programs must be converted in low level language using the assembler. The translator that does so is known as assembler. I explained you about the assembler. Assembler is a software which converts assembly language program into machine language. However, the language is still specific to and dependent on a specific processor and environment, and is difficult to use effectively to write large application. So now you can understand now, in assembly language, writing the program is still very difficult, and large application was very difficult to develop. So these are the disadvantages of second generation. Third generation programming language. A third generation language is a programming language designed to be easier for a human to understand using normal language like word such as if, repeat, while, etc. So in third generation, basic COBOL, Pascal, Algol, C, C++, Java, they were used. They comes in third generation programming language, 3GL. So here they use if, repeat, while, for, okay, all these keywords. So one example is given, let C is equal to C plus 2 into D, or if sale greater than 2000, then discount is at 10%, something like we can write in third generation programming language. Fortran, Algol, and COBOL are early example of the sort of language. Most modern language, basic C, C++, Java, etc., are also third generation languages. Third generation language programs also need to be converted into machine language. Compiler and interpreter are two such software that converts a 3GL program into machine language. Understood? Compiler and interpreter? Yes. Fourth generation programming language. 4GL or fourth generation language is designed to be closer to natural language than a 3GL language. 4GLs are non-procedural in nature. That is, programmers have just to specify what is required rather than how it is to be done. Okay. Uh, Programmer have to just to specify what is required rather than how it's to be done. Means you have not to make too much program, only some sort of statements you will use and you will get the output. So here in color color you can see here, okay, for here. Now see, languages for assessing database such as SQL are often described as 4GLs. A 4GL language statement might look like this: extract all customers where previous purchases total more than 10,000. So this is the statement. And in database, if we will use this, then it will extract all customers, means it will extract the detail of customers where previous purchases, means there will be one uh, field, previous purchase, total more than 10,000. So the customers, those have purchased more than 10,000, the detail of these customers will be extracted. All 4GLs are designed to reduce programming efforts. These are advantages. The time it takes to develop software, the cost of software development. Okay, so you had not to learn, only you had to get the idea about these all. One most popular 4GL is SQL, which is a query language used in database. Other 4GLs include many report generators, screen painters, GUI means graphic user interface creators, etc. Now come page 4, fifth generation programming language. A fifth generation programming language is a programming language based around solving problems using constraints entered by the programmer, which the computer used to solve the given problem. The main difference between fourth generation programming language and fifth generation language is fourth generation languages are designed to build specific programs, while fifth generation languages are designed to make the computer solve the problem for you. This is the difference. In fourth generation we were making the programs, but in fifth generation we are not making the program, we are just giving the instruction and computer is working. This way the programmer only need to worry about what problems need to be solved and what conditions need to be met without worrying about how to implement or routine or algorithm to solve them. Routine or algorithm is nothing, step by step solving the problem. Okay, so fifth generation languages are used mainly in artificial intelligence research. Prologue. Okay, this is the name of that. OP, this is the name. OPS5 and Mercury are the best known fifth generation language. After learning about various categories of program, just see now in fifth generation, you can see in Google, there's a or in YouTube. You just go to YouTube and there's one icon, mic is there, and if you just touch the mic and you say song of old movies, so all old movie songs will come. Or in Apple or in Mac software, Siri is there, so you are just saying and the song is just in front of you. So this is called how you have not prepared any program to get the songs, only you are just saying and computer is producing you the output. That is the thing. Okay, so it is the artificial intelligence. Now programming paradigms. The right side you can see the definition of it. Paradigms means organizing principle of program. It is an approach to programming. So what are the approach of making program? Now see, by paradigm one means a way of thinking or doing things. Since the invention of the computer, many programming approaches have been tried, such as procedural programming, modular programming, structure programming. We will study here all these three. The primary motivation in each case has been the concern to handle the increasing complexity of programs that are reliable and maintainable. Let us discuss these different programming paradigms and key language mechanism necessary for supporting them. Procedural or module programming. A program in a procedural language is a list of instructions where each statement tells the computer to do something. That is called procedural programming. The focus means procedural programming means step by step we are giving instruction to do something by the computer. The focus is on the processing, that is the algorithm needed to perform the desired computation. So algorithm is step by step we are giving how we can give the instruction to solve the problem. There's the algorithm. So this paradigm is decide which procedures you want, use the best algorithm you can find. These are the two things. Languages support these paradigms by providing facilities for passing data values to functions, subprograms or subroutine, and returning the values from functions. Well, just see language support this paradigm by providing facilities for passing data value to functions. So there are functions, there are some data in the program, and some functions are also used in a program. Functions can be inbuilt functions or user defined functions. Inbuilt functions are you have used maybe a mat.pow for example. So in mat.pow, if you are giving 10 comma 2, so these 2, 10 and 2 data are just passing to the function or subprogram or subroutine, you can say. Okay, subprogram is small programs are called subprograms, and returning value from function. And after that, when you are using mat.pow 10 comma 2, the 100 is returning, 100 is the result coming back to you, that is called, and returning values from functions. That's the meaning of this. In procedural programming, the emphasis is on doing things and not on data. So in procedural programming, it is on doing things, not on data. They are not thinking about the data. They are thinking about the how to do it. What happens to the data? Data is often all the reason for a program's existence. The important part of an inventory program is not a function that display or check data. Inventory program, it is the inventory data itself. Inventory data means list of the data. Yet data is given second class status while programming. Come to the page 5. Also in procedural programming, data type are used and worked upon by many functions. So there are so many functions in the program, and these data are used with the functions. If a function makes any change to a data type, then it must be reflected to all the locations, that is means functions, within the program that process this data. This is very time consuming and of course frustrating for large size programs. So if a if data are there and one function is there and that function is changing the type of data, then other functions are also using the same data, then there will be some difficulties in different other subroutines of functions. Third, procedural programming does not model real world very well. Okay, so third point क्या है? Procedural programming does not model real world very well. For instance, a vehicle is an object. For example, any vehicle is an object which is capable of moving in real world. Yes, it is true. However, the procedural programming paradigm would just be concerned about the procedure or doing things. The procedural programming paradigm would just think of moving part and not the vehicle. Okay, so in procedural programming, just they are thinking about the moving part of the object, not the vehicle. See the difference between real world interpretation of vehicle and procedural programming interpretation of the same vehicle. Modular programming is an extension of procedural programming. In modular programming, a big program is divided into smaller parts known as modules. That's why it is called modular programming. smaller parts known as module means small programs. Means if there is a very big program, so they divide that program in different small subprograms or in parts of the programs, and they have just solved the problem, and they control these all small or subprograms with the main program. Okay, so these are called subprograms or modules also, or subroutine also. Now, next, modules are identifiable piece of code with a defined interface. Interface means interaction in between machine to program or program to machine within the program. They can be called from any part of a program and allow large program to be split into more manageable tasks, each of which can be independently tested. Okay, it is very clear now. Means small sub programs they have made to solve a problem. They split the whole program into small modules, and they control all the modules. A module can be thought of as a black box with a set of input and outputs. Black box means collection of statements, you can say here. Otherwise, black box is also in the aeroplane and all. It has a sole purpose and process its inputs in a way dictated by its goal and provides some output. In most cases, the actual operation of the black box should be invisible to the rest of the program. Okay, Miss Black's, if a black box of a subroutine is there, so others should not see what is inside that particular black box. This is the explanation of this. Uh, and when it is needed, it can be open. Just like an educational program where the course is broken down into a series of modules which the student must undertake. For each module, there is an initial specification, the input to the module along with the students enrolled on the module, and the output are graduated students with their result. As much as possible, these modules should be taken independently from the other modules on the program, as the teaching and operation of one module should not really have much effect on other module. Means one module is independent and other module is also independent, so they cannot cross it. The amount that they are interrelated is known as cross coupling. If they are interrelated, then this is called cross coupling. For example, a student doing a cyber law course may also take a Java module. Okay, so this is cross coupling. The cross coupling between this module and the cyber law module is likely to be zero, as the teaching of one does not affect the other. However, some modules do have a strong coupling, such as the object-oriented design method and the Java module. This is because Java is an object-oriented language and implements object-oriented design methods, even though two or more modules may have strong coupling, but it is tried at the level best to reduce the amount of coupling so that the modules can run without effective other modules. In modular programming, a program consists of a number of modules. Okay, I explain you this one. In modular programming, a program consists of a number of modules. There are so many modules, which in most cases work independently of all others. Independently they work, okay. Each module can work with its own data as well as with the data passed to it, okay. Now page 6. New technique in software development use components which are large general purpose modules which can be used in a number of ways. For example, a networking component could be used in a program. If the component is well designed, it could be used in a number of ways, such as supporting different network protocol or different network types. If modules are in good condition, in good design, so it can be used, otherwise no. In modular programming, a program consists of a number of modules which in most cases work independently of all others. Each module can work with its own data as well as with the data passed to it. It is repeated again. Okay, in this figure 1.2, you can see here main program is there, which is just controlling all the modules. There are different modules and they are independent. Okay, and one module at the right side at the bottom, they are having more modules. This module is having more module. 5 modules are, you can see here. Okay, so limitation of procedural programming approach. Emphasize number one, emphasize on algorithm or procedure rather than the data. So in procedural programming approach is what? They emphasize on algorithm, not on data. Data takes a back seat with this programming paradigm. So data, they concentrate on programming or algorithm. Second is change it in a data type being processed needs to be propagated to all the functions that use the same data type. This is a frustrating and time consuming process. So if in one module the data is used in different type and in another module the same data is used for different data type, so it is very difficult and tedious task. Third is the procedural programming paradigm does not model real world very well. So these are procedural programming are not near to object oriented programming or not to real world, you can say. Okay. So now the object oriented programming. So I think we should close it and with the next part we will start basic concept of OOP. That will be better. Yes or no? Okay. So it is still page page 6 and the object oriented programming we will start in the next, or should we start here? Okay, I think it is too long. It is a 43 minutes video is there. So now we will close it and next part of this video we will cover this complete chapter. Okay, bye bye.